There's a line people love to repeat. The blade forgets what it cut, but the wound remembers. Everyone assumes it's about pain. It isn't. It's about attention. The person who does the damage rarely even clocks it. The one on the receiving end remembers every last detail. That's basically how life operates. We spend our days catching the surface, the words, not the intent behind them, the action, not the pattern it's part of. A small number of people pay attention differently. They clock the throwaway comment that gives away someone's true character. They spot the tiny habit that's quietly setting up a future mistake. That's the real starting point of intelligence. Not stacking up more information than the next person, but noticing what everyone else steps right over. Here's the part nobody likes to hear. Spotting the pattern changes nothing by itself. Acting on it does. That's the real line between a genius and a strategist. A genius understands how the game works. A strategist figures out where to stand inside it. One sees the chance, the other cashes it in. Machiavelli got this decades, really centuries ahead of most people. Being smart isn't enough on its own. The world doesn't pay you for clarity of vision. It pays for what you do once you have it. Before getting into the specifics, it's worth correcting something people almost always get backwards about him. He gets painted as some ice-cold operator obsessed with power for its own sake. That's not really it. What he was actually arguing was harder to swallow. The world runs on what's real, not on what's fair or how things are supposed to go. People don't usually lose because they're weak or foolish. They lose because they'd rather believe the comfortable version of events than the accurate one. They picture people as they'd like them to be, plan around how situations should unfold, and then reality shows up uninvited and rearranges everything. His advice, stripped down, was something like, look first, move second. Read the board, understand the players on it, know exactly where you stand. Only then act. That's not cruelty, that's discipline. So here's a set of 10 habits that build exactly that combination. A genius's eye paired with a strategist's timing. 1. Catch what everyone else scrolls past. Walk most people into a room and they see chairs and a table. A more observant person reads the whole backstory sitting in front of them. A book left open face down. A mug with 3 separate coffee rings on the wood beneath it. A chair angled slightly away from the desk like someone left in a hurry. None of it demands attention on its own. Together, it's practically a paragraph. The truth is, most of us just aren't fully in the room. We're stuck managing our own internal noise, worry, running commentary, half-formed thoughts about something else entirely, which means we miss the moment someone's tone shifts on a topic, the half-second flash of expression before a smile papers over it, the pause before an answer that says more than the answer itself does. Building this starts with slowing down how fast you judge things. Most people form an opinion about a situation before they've actually finished taking it in. Sit with the raw observation a little longer than feels comfortable. And watch how people behave when they think there's no audience. That's when you get the unfiltered version. When someone's words say one thing and their posture says another, trust the posture. Words get rehearsed. Bodies don't lie as easily. 2. Track the pattern, not the single event. A dam doesn't fail because of one storm. It fails because of months of pressure nobody was measuring. Most collapses in life work the same way. Nobody's life falls apart over one bad decision. It's 20 small decisions, all leaning the same direction, each one excused as a one-time thing. Miss a deadline once, that's a bad week. Miss it 5 times, that's who you are. Most people evaluate life event by event, which is exactly why they keep getting caught off guard by things that, looking back, were completely predictable. Practice zooming out. Instead of asking, what does this mean right now? Ask, where have I already seen this shape play out? Weight repetition over drama. A single loud moment tells you less than a quiet thing that keeps happening. And hold off calling it a pattern until you've seen it at least 3 separate times. 2 is still just a coincidence wearing a costume. 3. Hear the motive hiding under the sentence. Every sentence someone says is dressed up for the occasion. Sometimes the outfit matches what's really underneath. Sometimes it's a disguise. Most listeners never get past the surface. They take the sentence at face value and respond to exactly what was said. That's exactly why they get ambushed later, because motive rarely lives in the wording. It lives in when something gets said, and in what someone defends without being asked to. A compliment offered right before a favor is asked isn't usually just a compliment. Pay attention to timing, not only content. And when someone volunteers a lengthy explanation for a detail nobody questioned, that detail is probably shielding something bigger. If someone's tone and their words contradict each other, believe the tone. It's far harder to fake under real pressure. The single most useful question you can ask yourself is, who gains if I take this exactly at face value? 4. Play out the next few moves before you commit to this one. A novice at chess only sees the piece directly in front of them. Someone who's actually good looks 4 or 5 moves down the board because they already have a rough model of how the other player thinks. Most people make choices by asking, what do I want right now? Sharper people ask a follow-up. And if I do this, what happens after? And after that? Picture the realistic response to your move, not the one you're secretly hoping for. A good move doesn't just fix today's issue, it keeps tomorrow's options open. There's a time for speed, sure, but anything that actually matters deserves a pause long enough to think a few steps ahead before you take the first step in reality. 5. Convert what you notice into something you can use. Insight you never act on is just dead weight. Most people stop the process at noticing. They catch the pattern, sense the real motive, and then file it away, quietly proud of having spotted it. But awareness that never gets deployed is a medal in a drawer. It doesn't change your situation one bit. Information also expires. Caught early, it's leverage. Sit on it too long and it curdles into trivia. Accurate, mildly interesting, and useless by the time you finally do something with it. Ask yourself what a specific piece of information actually changes about your next move. And once you've figured something out, keep most of it to yourself. Part of an insight's power comes from being rare. The instant everyone else sees what you see, your edge is gone. 6. Trust behavior over words every time. Cut open a tree and the growth rings tell you exactly what kind of years it's lived through. No exaggeration, no spin. A promise takes 5 seconds to make and reflects nothing but the mood someone was in when they said it. A habit, on the other hand, takes years to form, which is exactly why it's so hard to fake convincingly. The mistake most people make is letting a recent, sincere-sounding apology erase months of a repeated pattern. Judge someone across a long stretch of time, not a short emotional one. Pay attention to how they treat people who can't do anything for them and whether their effort holds steady when nobody's watching. That tells you more than any big gesture ever could. 7. Keep emotion out of the driver's seat when it matters most. A captain who loses his nerve mid-storm doesn't calm the sea, he just makes worse calls exactly when precision matters most. The moments that carry the most weight are also the moments emotion gets the loudest, and a loud emotion almost always steers toward a weak decision. Anger wants to retaliate, not strategize. Fear wants to bolt, not think it through. Managing emotion doesn't mean pretending you don't feel it. Feel all of it, fully. The actual discipline is refusing to let that feeling be the one that decides. Even a brief pause is usually enough to let the initial spike pass before you say or do anything. Never make a big call at the peak of rage, panic, or euphoria. Let it settle first. The exact same decision almost always looks different once the water's calm again. 8. Get into position before the door even opens. An archer isn't drawing the bow the instant the target appears. The stance was already set well before that moment. By the time a chance is visible to everyone, it's too late to start preparing for it. Either you're already ready or you're not. Opportunities rarely go to the most gifted person in the room. They go to whoever happens to be ready to move. So build the skill before you actually need it and stay visible to the people who matter, steadily, not just when you want something from them. The version of you that shows up consistently, even during the slow, uneventful stretches, is exactly the version that gets picked the moment something finally shifts. 9. Learn to wait on purpose. A predator that moves too soon spooks off the exact thing it was stalking. Timing isn't an accessory to a good decision, it's baked into the decision itself. The right move made at the wrong moment can fail just as badly as the wrong move. Real patience isn't sitting still and hoping. It's active, watching closely, preparing quietly, and holding off until conditions actually support the move, not just until waiting starts to feel unbearable. Use that waiting time productively. Refine the plan, gather more information, strengthen your position. People will read your patience as hesitation. Let them think that. You're not performing for an audience. You're trying to win. 10. When the window opens, go through it without flinching. A hawk doesn't circle indefinitely once it's spotted its target. It reads the wind, gauges the angle, and then commits completely, no hesitation. Everything leading up to that dive was just setup. The dive is the entire reason for the setup. This is where most people actually lose, and it's rarely because they weren't paying attention. It's doubt creeping in at the worst possible time. What if I'm wrong? What if it's too early? What if I give it a little longer? In that gap of second guessing, the window closes quietly, and someone less prepared but more willing to move walks through it instead. Certainty never fully shows up. Strategists act on strong odds, not on guarantees that only exist looking backward. Which brings it back to where this started. The blade forgets, the wound remembers. Awareness that never turns into action is just a memory sitting there, doing nothing. And none of these 10 habits work well on their own either. Sharp perception without patience burns through good moves for nothing. Patience without decisive action just means missing them entirely. The strategist Machiavelli was describing was never actually cold-blooded. He simply refused to flinch away from reality, even the uncomfortable parts of it. You don't need to become a different person to put any of this into practice. You just need to start paying closer attention than you currently do, and trust what that attention tells you, even when it's inconvenient to hear. See it clearly, wait for the right moment, then move, fully and without hesitation.